Hey everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and you are watching The Right of the People, where we use the first to defend the second every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. So uncover your keyboards, fire up your fingers, and come join the conversation. Hey everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, but this is not Friday. I was working a double last night, so no could do on the show. However, I'm not at work tonight, so I figured why not go ahead and let you guys hear the right of the people this week. It is Saturday, the 7th of March, 2020. And, I decided to come hang out with you guys. Hopefully I'm not quarking anybody. If I am, I apologize. Let me know, and maybe we can come to some sort of arrangement, right? Anyhow, let me say hello to my wonderful panel here tonight. We have Mike from GunTube, otherwise known as Night Strike. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Good. Outstanding. Glad to hear it. And then we absolutely have to have somebody who must be a glutton for punishment because he came back. Glimtech Arms, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much. Yeah, somebody's got to do it, you know. Didn't want to leave poor Night Strike here hanging in the breeze all by himself.
Yeah, somebody had to fill in for Squib.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He must not. He must be out doing stuff tonight on his wonderful, well-deserved day off, and that's awesome. You know. Go enjoy yourself, Squibby. Let's see. Who do we have out there in the chat so far? Looks like we have 11 people watching. We got Midnight Range out there. Apparently skeptical as all get out that I'm trying to say hello to my buddies out there because he's like, whatever. And we have Night Strike 1 and Glimtech Arms out there. Poor Conservative, Seven Wonders, Ozzy Osbourne. BS leads to fun. I think that's Boob Sweat with a slightly
with a more PG-13
more family-friendly moniker. Who else is out there? Oh, nobody else is out there yet so far. If you are out there and you haven't sounded off in the chat, please do so I can say hi. Remember, folks, this is supposed to be a two-way conversation. It's not just me talking to you. It's you having input as well. If you're out there watching this on replay, please leave a comment below. Any of the topics that you want to sound off about, don't hesitate. I read my comments, all of them. And, I may not respond to some choice ones, but the vast majority I will. Because I am absolutely not big enough yet to just ignore people. Not that I ever planned to. Grid 90's out there. Andrew Faulkner's in the house. Welcome, welcome. So we had a pretty eventful week in the two-way world.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Yes, absolutely wonderful on the political front. Because, Mini Mike, Mikey Mike and the Funky Bunch goes bye-bye. You know, I picture a bunch of munchkins now, all of us little people dancing around going, ding dong, the witch is dead, witch old witch.
Hold up. You haven't heard the best part.
What's that?
He wasted $400 million of his own dollars.
Oh, no. 700 million.
Oh, has it gone up? 700.
Yep.
All
yeah,
right.
700 million.
All right, we got to drain that sucker.
Midnight says, I'm listening. Better make this good budget. We're all pretty mad about you skipping yesterday. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But, I had to make that cash.
Well, you're not
cash
the only one
money.
that skipped.
What's that?
You skipped yesterday, and then Rick skipped today.
Rick skipped today. Is everything all right with Rick?
Yeah, he had a family function.
Okay, good. We got a couple more people out there. G23's out there. DM Foss. Good to see you guys. The Poor Conservative says that's okay, budget. We'll see you in D.C. if it's really important. Yes, you will. I am absolutely planning to be to D.C. again this year in October. So, you betcha. If you are down at NRAM, I'll be there as well. So if you're down there and you see me, please don't hesitate to stop in and shake my paw if you can, stand the chance of contamination, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of NRAM, I have 34 stickers left to get rid of in the next, 5 weeks or so? So make sure you guys hop in there and go over to budgetgunsandgear.com and check that out. The sticker sale / giveaway. For those of you that don't know, I am selling these wonderful... Hell, let me go to... Selling these wonderful stickers. That's what they look like. Each one of them is individually numbered. But you're not just getting these stickers. You are getting an opportunity to get stuff, because each sticker also comes with at least one piece of swag from NRAM. And, over the course of several shows, I've given several different incentives to people for buying stickers. But each sticker also comes with a chance to win 2 different prize packages. One is a Fiachi 6 to 24 by 50 illuminated reticle scope, a Swagger Bipod 129, and a $220 worth of electronic gift cards from Palmetto State, where you can buy whatever you want there with it. The second prize package is a set of Eye Pro and Ear Pro from Venture Gear Tactical. Thanks to Ghost Tactical for that. And a Fiachi Falcon 1 to 4 by 24 illuminated reticle scope. So get in on those, folks. By the way, I want to thank CloverTac for the donation of the Swagger Bipod. That was really great of him. And I want to thank G-Webs for doing a little cartoon version of me here on the sticker. That's pretty doggone cool. Speaking of buying stickers, anybody that goes over there and gets 2 stickers tonight will get... Let me get back here to it. One of these wonderful Budget Guns and Gear Reviews hats in black. 20% wool, 80% acrylic, Velcro back, with the best logo on the internet sewn to it. So head on over there and grab those tonight.
Guys, I just posted the link out there in the chat for you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, we got them out there arguing over the stuff.
I want
Midnight says,
I want my hat.
Midnight says, keep your dirty hands off my scope, you creatures. And,
now remember, guys, I'm in the running too, so if I win, there you go. I'm keeping the gift cards, but I might give away the other stuff.
Awesome.
Send me my hat, please.
Outstanding.
Okay, I'll send you the hat.
Outstanding. You bet I will. And, I had limited numbers of the jewel tone hats, the red, the blue, the brown and whatnot. I can make as many of these as you guys want. If you don't want to bother with a sticker, head on over to the website, to the swag store, and you can pick these up for $15 each, shipped in Konas. So, and that's anytime you want one, go get them, because I will. I'll sew the patch on with my own 2 little hands and my handy dandy Singer sewing machine, and get it sent out to you. All right, enough commercialism and self-promoting whorishness.
Hold on, no, that was capitalism. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, yes.
Yes, that's capitalism. That's perfectly all right.
It's perfectly fine. It's capitalism because we live in a capitalist society.
Well, outstanding then.
But continue, please.
Freaking standing then. Let's get into the topics today. Once I switch that around. Let's see. So, first off, we're going to talk about Mini Mike. So let me go over to the topics and bring this up. This is a piece from Breitbart by, who wrote this? By A.W.R. Hawkins from March 4th, 2020. Bloomberg's guns for me, not for thee approach rejected by the American people. Mike Bloomberg's guns for me but not for thee approach was rejected by the American people on Super Tuesday, leading him to abandon the race less than 24 hours later. Gun control for the American people was a cornerstone of Bloomberg's campaign, but he carried out that campaign while surrounded by armed guards 24/7. On February 3rd, 2020, Breitbart News reported that Bloomberg availed himself of good guys with guns for self-protection while pushing to deny Americans access to guns for defense of their own lives. On March 2nd, 2020, the day before Super Tuesday, Breitbart News reported Bloomberg was called out by an audience member at a Fox News town hall. The audience member said, "You have an armed security detail that is likely equipped with the same firearms and magazines you seek to ban the common citizen from owning. Does your life matter more than mine or my family's?" Bloomberg responded by admitting his personal use of good guys with guns and suggested that his use of guns is justified because he has higher public profile than the common man. On Super Tuesday, the vast majority of voters rejected Bloomberg. President Trump addressed Bloomberg's loss after polls closed. The biggest loser tonight, by far, is Mini Mike Bloomberg. His political consultants took him for a ride. $700 million washed down the drain, and he got nothing for it but the nickname Mini Mike and the complete destruction of his reputation. Way to go, Mike! President Trump. That is like the troll in chief.
Yeah, but I found one of his campaign posters.
Let me get back to the main. Hold on a minute. What is this?
I found one of the campaign posters. You got to show everyone.
Yeah, hold on a minute. Let me make this. Big. To beat Donald Trump, I will spend $1 billion. Ah, that is great. Mini Mike Bloomberg 2020. That is awesome. Ha!
Yeah. Yep. It's a good day.
To no avail. Roll call will be, I don't know. Roll call might be sad to hear that Hiawatha herself dropped out of the race as well. So Elizabeth Warren is
the last of the Mohicans.
Gone. The last of the Mohicans is no more.
He's gonna be heartbroken. That's gonna devastate him.
No, he's still gonna stalk her, guaranteed. Guaranteed he's gonna stalk her Twitter accounts. As he should. So that leaves what? That leaves Crazy Bernie Sanders and Shotgun Joe, Uncle Touchy Biden left in the race now. And Bernie has already sold out and said that if Biden gets the nomination, he'll support him. That if Biden actually gets, if he gets more votes in the next primary, then he'll drop out and support Biden. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and then he's going to say he got robbed, and then he's going to go and buy another mansion with the proceeds.
Yeah,
like he did last time. That's why he's got 3 mansions, and everybody else just has.
That other.
Because he only had 1 mansion before his campaign.
Yeah, now he's got 4.
Yeah, right.
He's got more mansions. Even at 1, he had more mansions than I do.
Oh, well.
G23 says, "Budget, you missed my live stream." Oh, yes, I did. My bad. Ozzy Osbourne says, "I believe in capitalism. I'm just not good at it." Yeah, you and me both, brother. Bloomberg acts like a mafia boss. Yes, he does. Welcome to those of you who are joining us, by the way. We got, who do we have out here? G23 came on. Let's see. The gun-toting pacifist. Poor conservative came in. Ozzy, I think I already said hi. Scott P79, hello. New York Outcast. How you doing, Rob? Warsaw Patriot, welcome. Mystic Guns, hello. Anybody else out there that I haven't named yet? If I've missed you,
we got 23 watching and only 11. Yeah, we got 23 watching and only 11 thumbs up, though.
Well, they don't have to.
Come on, guys. Those are rookie numbers. Thumbs up the video.
They don't have to do that. I mean, yeah, it helps, but hey, I'm easy. I'm just glad that they're out there watching. Let's see. What else do we have going on out there? People just saying hi. Biden needs to shut up, and he's nothing but another Bill Clinton. Yes, he is. Hence, my nickname for him of Uncle Touchy. Let's see.
No.
Who wants to put money on Biden getting the coronavirus? I don't think Biden's going to get the coronavirus because he's not running against Clinton. If he were running against Clinton, he'd virus himself.
Yeah, he'd have an accidental virusing.
7 says Warsaw Patriot, but I think Trump will beat Biden easily, and that's what I predict. I predict that if Joe Biden gets the Democratic nomination, it's Trump by a landslide. Still gonna advocate for it. Still gonna campaign against Biden on my show because I'm absolutely not gonna campaign for him. And I'm still going to work to make that happen, but I suspect that it'll be a Trump landslide victory if Biden gets the nomination because he is just a blithering idiot. And yes, I know that there are a lot of people out there who will vote for him just because he's the Democrat nominee, just like there are a lot of people out there who will vote for Donald Trump just because he's the Republican nominee. I would be voting for Donald Trump because I would be voting against Biden, just like I voted for Trump because I was voting against Hillary. I know it's a very subtle distinction, but I think it's an important one. G Webs is out there. Hello, sir. How are you? We got A-Dubs. Hello. 38 Super Partisan.
I mean, we didn't have much of a choice in 2016. It was either the Democrat Hillary or the Democrat light libertarian candidate or Trump. So we had to go with Trump. The lesser of three evils at that point.
Yeah. Little John Doe. I don't think I've ever
Gary
seen
Johnson
you out there.
Said he was a libertarian, but he was he's Democrat light.
Who's that?
Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
He was Democrat light.
I think the libertarians would be great if they would just tweak their platform a little bit. Just a little bit.
If they'd actually be libertarians. Because I tell you right now, the libertarian Republicans are more libertarian than the actual Libertarian Party, which is wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of where I lay. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm conservative when it comes to the Second Amendment and foreign policy and stuff like that. But I'm actually rather liberal in my social policies because I believe freedom. There you go. If you don't harm anybody, do what you want to do. I don't care. But G23 says, I was live for 2 hours, 48 minutes, so you have to go longer than a rookie. I don't think
he's going to stay awake for 2 hours.
I'm going on 4 hours of sleep since I did my double last night and got home this morning. I got up and went to a fundraising event for my local agriculture ag society. They run our county fair, and they were raffling off a bunch of guns and stuff. I didn't hang out very long because they'll contact me, let me know if I want anything. So, but I'll be putting out a short video to overview that in the next couple days. But yeah,
Scott just sent me this. I have to share.
Must be this tall to ride. Awesome. Awesome. Must be
Scott,
this tall to ride.
Thank you for that, Scott. Kudos.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
Guess what, Mini Mike? You don't qualify there, buddy.
No, you missed it by that much.
Midnight says 234 LOL. Talk to me when you're doing 5-hour shows, rookie. Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, that's the truth.
At midnight, talk to me when you do 8-hour shows.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not really going to degenerate into a mine's bigger than yours conversation, are we?
No,
it's a family show.
No, I just wanted to flex the fact that I've done 8-hour shows, just for the hell of it.
Okay, yeah, we know you're a big boy.
Yeah.
So
in more ways than one.
Oh, Maron. But we'll have more. We'll have. Speaking of the last man standing, well, one of the last men standing in the Democrat race. We'll have more on Shotgun Joe later. He, as I'm sure you can figure out, will feature in one of our later segments. Meanwhile, going on in Virginia, the Dems are at it again, trying to get payback for those who would dare to resist them. This is a piece in Breitbart again from March 2nd by A.W.R. Hawkins. Virginia Democrats poised to take pensions from sheriffs who opposed gun control. During CPAC, Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins told Breitbart News that Virginia Democrats are punishing sheriffs who continue to stand against gun control. On December 7, 2019, Breitbart News reported Jenkins' announcement that he was ready to deputize thousands to defend Second Amendment rights had the Virginia Democrats passed gun bans and other controls that were being pushed. He made clear he equated his actions with calling forth the militia to defend freedom. He quoted Richard Henry Lee from 1788 saying, "A militia, when properly formed, are in fact the people themselves, and include all men capable of bearing arms." Over the past weekend of CPAC, Jenkins told Breitbart News, "In early December, I came out against the newly proposed legislation to restrict everything from assault weapons, so-called assault weapons, to high-capacity magazines, and said that if we're going to take away weapons from law-abiding citizens, I intend to swear in thousands of citizens as reserve deputy sheriffs so they can keep those weapons and be able to protect themselves and use them," which I thought was a brilliant dodge around what they were trying to do. Jenkins said that he and other sheriffs who took a similar stand were threatened with having insurance coverage removed from deputies and staff. He said that sheriffs throughout the state were offered a $10,000 raise if we would tuck tail and follow the Democrats' lead and stop the pushback. They tried to bribe these guys. But Jenkins refused to cower and said they responded by saying they would take away the raises of the deputies if we didn't stop. He said State Senator Janet Howell, Democrat, introduced a bill for next session where she could remove the pension of sheriffs next year for saying that we won't follow unconstitutional laws or that I would use my lawful powers as sheriff to swear in thousands of people as deputies. So, as one could expect, the masters want to get payback on the serfs for daring to stand up. Oh, got to load an ad first. Awesome. I love ads. They are sweet.
Grove appliance, TV,
well,
furniture, and
I guess
mattress
I'm just going to
has
talk
had
over
the
this
privilege
ad
of serving our
you
local
know,
community
I
for
don't want
over
to get a
85
copyright strike
years
for a
and are a
stinking
fourth-generation
ad,
family-owned
something that's not
business.
actually
We don't view
content,
you
so
as a
I'm gonna talk
transaction.
over
We
it
strive to
and,
meet your needs from every area of
can't
your
mute
life,
it. There is
developing
a
the true
button
treasure
there to
that
mute.
lies within
What's
our
that?
relationship.
Grove
You can't
appliance,
mute it.
TV, furniture, and mattress.
No, I
Best
can't mute
deal
this. I
with
tried to mute it and it
service.
just pauses it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Set the stage for me in Virginia with the gun laws. What's happening with the Second Amendment, and how are you guys fighting back?
A little background. Early December, I came out in opposition to the newly proposed legislation to restrict everything from assault weapons, so-called assault weapons, to high-capacity magazines and others, and said, if we're going to take away weapons from law-abiding citizens, I intend to swear in thousands of citizens as reserve deputy sheriffs.
Again, I think that's brilliant. If only deputies and LEOs can have it, well, make everybody a deputy.
So they can keep those weapons and be able to protect themselves and use them as the rightful owners they are. It's not going to affect them, the criminals that they intend to. It's going to affect the law-abiding citizens.
But the politicians already know that. That is the very point. Remember, folks, gun control is never about the gun. It is always about the control.
So when I came out strongly taking that stance, and we started to see the sanctuary resolution movement going all over the state, over 100 localities, as that time went on, they began to threaten me and any others like me as sheriff, and saying that they would remove remove insurance coverage and other benefits from deputies and staff. They went so far as to offer a $10,000 raise to sheriffs, all sheriffs in the vineyard, not the deputies, the sheriffs, if we would basically.
Really? Well, basically, there you go, folks. It just repeats what...
tuck tail and follow their lead of what they wanted and stop the pushback. We refused that. I specifically refused that. And from there, they went so far as to say they'd take away the raises of the deputies if we didn't stop.
I got to say, I think that's pretty despicable, too. First, they try to bribe the sheriffs, and then they threaten to hurt their staff, their deputies. That shows the kind of people that we're dealing with here, and it proves my point that it's never about the gun, it's about control and imposing their will by any means necessary.
Yeah, the problem of it is they already hurt the deputies by doing that, because they did submit for a raise for the deputies.
Yep.
And it was shot down. And when he was pulled aside, he was caught on a hot mic, telling them the reason why it was shot down.
Yep.
It was shot down because you guys wouldn't comply.
Yep.
So you guys aren't getting raises.
It's despicable. I really hope that anyone in Virginia who is listening to the sound of my voice remembers this at the ballot box. Of course, if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you're in Virginia, I probably don't need to tell you that, because you already voted against them and you weren't one of the ones that stayed home and allowed this to happen to begin with, right? Elizabeth Warren signals the end of her... Oh, my Lord, have mercy.
Scott sent me two more. So
except that should only be a 1/64th scale picture.
I know. It should be. There's also this one. Let's see. Okay, it's too large.
Yeah.
There we go.
Good old Uncle Touchy confuses wife with sister.
Biden wins Alabama.
Oh, Lord. I apologize to all the Alabamans, and the opinions expressed by Night Strike are not necessarily those of Budget Guns and Gear Reviews or anyone else at all.
Technically, this is the views and opinions of Scott P79 because he sent me these pictures.
Wow.
I'm totally passing that book on.
Let's see, where are we at topic-wise now? In other news, the Supreme Court refused to hear the case against the lawsuit against the bump stock ban. But there's
but it isn't over yet.
Correct, it is not over yet. Let's go ahead and talk about that. This is from Gunwatch, a piece by I think Dean Weingarten. Let's see. From Friday, March 6th. Justice Gorsuch on the bump stock ban denial of cert in Geddes versus BATFE. Excuse me. In 2019, in response to a single criminal act, faced with intense media pressure resulting in political pressure, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives moved to ban bump stocks. Sorry, I got distracted by a notification. I should turn those off while I'm doing this. Anyhow, they did so, claiming bump stocks were machine guns, contrary to numerous findings they had made over the last several decades, and in what I believe to be a gross overreach of regulatory authority by the executive branch, in that they de facto redefined a machine gun, which is defined in law and hence is a power reserved to Congress. But I digress. The new regulation was challenged in the courts. The first case to be appealed to the Supreme Court was filed in the District of Columbia. On 2nd March 2020, the Supreme Court denied a writ of certiorari, the legal term to say they declined to hear the case. The Supreme Court declines to hear most cases. Very often, justices do not comment when writs of cert are denied. The doctrine the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia used to uphold the regulation is called the Chevron doctrine. It essentially says bureaucracies may interpret vague laws to make specific regulations. Justice Gorsuch, the first justice appointed by President Trump, felt compelled to write a brief statement explaining why the Supreme Court did not grant cert. Here is his statement in its entirety. From SupremeCourt.gov, does owning a bump stock expose a citizen to a decade in federal prison? For years, the government didn't think so. But recently, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives changed its mind. Now, according to a new interpretive rule from the agency, owning a bump stock is forbidden by a long-standing federal statute that outlaws the possession of machine guns. Whether bump stocks can be fairly reclassified and effectively outlawed as machine guns under existing statutory definitions, I do not know and could not say without briefing an argument. Nor do I question that Congress might seek to enact new legislation directly regulating the use and possession of bump stocks. But at least one thing should be clear. Contrary to the Court of Appeals decision in this case, Chevron USA Inc. versus Natural Resources Defense Council has nothing to say about the proper interpretation of the law before us. In the first place, the government expressly waived reliance on Chevron. The government told the Court of Appeals that, if the validity of its rule, reinterpreting the machine gun statute, turns on the applicability of Chevron, it would prefer that the rule be set aside rather than upheld. Well, that's interesting. Yet, despite this concession, the court proceeded to uphold the agency's new rule only on the strength of Chevron deference. Think about it this way. The executive branch and affected citizens asked the court to do what courts usually do in statutory interpretation disputes, supply its best independent judgment about what the law means. But instead of deciding the case the old-fashioned way, the court placed an uninvited thumb on the scale in favor of government. That was mistaken. This court has often declined to apply Chevron deference when the government fails to invoke it. Then it makes some cites. Even when Chevron deference is sought, this court has found it inappropriate where the executive seems of two minds about the result it prefers. Nor is it a surprise that the government can lose the benefit of Chevron in situations like these in ours. If the justification for Chevron is that policy choices should be left to executive branch officials directly accountable to the people, then courts must equally respect the executive's decision not to make policy choices in the interpretations of Congress's handiwork. To make matters worse, the law before us carries the possibility of criminal sanctions. And, as the government itself may have recognized in offering its disclaimer, whatever else one thinks about Chevron, it has no role to play when liberty is at stake. Under our Constitution, only the people's elected representatives in the legislature are authorized to make an act of crime. Before courts may send people to prison, we owe them an independent determination that the law actually forbids their conduct. A reasonable prosecutor say-so is cold comfort in comparison. That's why this court has never held that the government's reading of criminal statute is entitled to any deference. Instead, we have emphasized courts bear an obligation to determine independently what the law allows and forbids. Concurring in part and dissent. That obligation went unfulfilled here. Chevron's application in this case may be doubtful for other reasons too. The agency used to tell everyone that bump stocks don't qualify as machine guns. Now it says the opposite. The law hasn't changed, only an agency's interpretation of it. And these days it sometimes seems agencies change their statutory interpretations almost as often as elections change administrations. How, in all this, can ordinary citizens be expected to keep up, required not only to conform their conduct to the fairest reading of the law they might expect from a neutral judge, but forced to guess whether the statute will be declared ambiguous, to guess again whether the agency's initial interpretation of the law will be declared reasonable, and to guess again whether a later and opposing agency interpretation will also be held reasonable. And why should courts, charged with the independent and neutral interpretation of the laws Congress has enacted, defer to such bureaucratic pirouetting? Despite these concerns, I agree with my colleagues that the interlocutory petition before us does not merit review. The errors apparent in this preliminary ruling might yet be corrected before final judgment. Further, Other courts of appeals are actively considering challenges to the same regulation. Before deciding whether to weigh in, we would benefit from hearing their considered judgments, provided, of course, that they are not afflicted with the same problems. But waiting should not be mistaken for a lack of concern. Waiting should not be mistaken for lack of concern. That seems to be the main thrust of Justice Gorsuch's message. In the last,
That's it. That's the key, the last sentence.
Yes. In the last paragraph, he agrees with his colleagues that at this stage of the proceedings is not the appropriate time for them to take the case. His indication that other courts are considering the same question indicates the issue is far from decided. It is interesting the executive branch did not claim the Chevron doctrine to justify the bump stock ban, and the D.C. Appeals Court insisted on applying it to the case. Did the U.S. executive branch set the case up to fail? Second Amendment supporters have been waiting for the courts to uphold Second Amendment rights for decades. They were happy to see some movement with the Heller decision, and then, in 2010, the McDonald decision. A decade passed with the Second Amendment being relegated to second-class status by numerous appeals courts. Justice Gorsuch's message indicates he understands some of the frustration many Second Amendment supporters feel about the lack of the Supreme Court's willingness to uphold the rule of law. It is a positive sign.
I don't think he does.
What's that?
I don't think he understands. I don't think he understands because I know what he's getting at, and I know why he said what he did, but I don't think he really understands. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, he does. I really think he does understand, and that's why they're doing what they're doing.
And that's why he bothered to make a statement about it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not going to, otherwise he wouldn't even bother making the statement. But they don't want to jump in with both feet yet. They want to find out what the lower courts are going to do and if they're actually going to do what they're supposed to do and interpret the law the way it is. And if they aren't, then they're going to step in and they're going to fix that.
Yep. I think that it just wasn't the right case at the right time. And they need to send it back to see what happens to get all the legal ducks in a row before they can take it. That's what I think. And as he said, there are other cases on the same subject out there that may be a better candidate for SCOTUS review.
Yep. Like I said, I'm sure.
But when is that going to happen? They've waited 10 years.
Well, I know that the mill of justice grinds
there's
slow,
more
but
than
it
just
grinds
one.
fine. I think it's when you're talking the legal system, it always moves slow, and you want to make sure you get it right.
So I can expect the resolution by the time I'm 50. Gotcha.
Maybe. Just don't break out the shovel yet and dig that thing back up. I mean, your time capsule.
I don't know what you're talking about, and
don't know what. Don't put the scuba gear on it yet, and and go diving yet. Just hold that thought.
Yeah, there was no boating accident. No time capsule.
Oh, we have those
it's gone.
Yeah, we have those all the time here in Arizona. Float down on the lake here. And
You've only got one lake, Lake Havasu.
I don't know. You got Roosevelt here where I'm at. That's 10 minutes away.
Oh, yeah, you got Roosevelt. I don't know. I think Havasu's bigger. But
Seven says, sorry, folks, I had to bail about 15 minutes ago. Wife's uncle in serious condition with pneumonia. I'll catch the replay. Well, I hope that it turns out well for him.
Later,
sorry to hear that, man. Scott P79 says, with little Chuck Schumer threatening the Supreme Court, is it possible they need to start taking some cases as payback the Democrats won't like? I would hope they would rise above that.
Though Roberts came out, swinging this week after Chuck Schumer said what he did. Basically saying
I'm not familiar with the story.
Court
My ass has been working
on it.
I am not familiar with the story. I've been working really long hours at work lately. What happened?
Well, I know they filed censure against him. That I do know.
What did Chucky do?
Chuck Schumer basically he was doing a pro-choice rally, about the abortion thing, and he told the Supreme Court justices that if they don't decide the way they want them to, that they reap the whirlwind.
Oh, really?
And
he basically
that's not how
Justice Roberts came out swinging.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
And he No, it's not. No, it's not. And Justice Roberts came out swinging, saying that yes, Schumer has the First Amendment right to say that, but again, the Supreme Court justices and the court itself are not playing sides, and they will not be strong-armed by any political party to do as they say.
Absolutely right. Nor should they. They are an equal branch of government. Equal to the legislature.
And
those 9 love them or hate them, those 9 people in black robes are the equals of the entirety of the Senate and of the entirety of the House. They are equal to all of them, just as the president is equal to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he specifically called out Gorsuch and Kavanaugh by name specifically, telling them both that if you don't rule the way we want you to, and in our favor, you got a problem.
Hell,
or you're gonna have a problem.
If that was even one bit Second Amendment related, I'd put him in the running for moron, because he would deserve it. Because, well, he is. Speaking of morons, this next... Speaking of morons, this next piece almost made it in there. But I figured it deserved to be in the topics section instead. This is a piece from The Atlantic by Aaron Tang. What if the courts saw other rights as generously as gun rights? All right, first off, that the title there raised my hackles, because it's the other way around. What if they saw gun rights as generously as they do the other rights, in my opinion? But so you can tell where the slant and the bias on this is already. Both gun rights advocates and educational equity activists use similar legal strategies. Why does the Supreme Court treat them so differently? Well, maybe because one is a constitutionally protected right and the other ain't. This is an essay about 2 words no one wants to see in the same story: guns and schools. Bullshit. I like to see plenty of guns in schools in the hands of responsible, law-abiding citizens who are there to protect people. But I digress. But this isn't about school shootings. This is instead about 2 starkly different social activist groups: gun rights proponents and educational equity advocates. It's about their steadfast pursuit of wildly divergent civil rights. Well, at least he admits that gun rights are civil rights. It's about a surprising similarity in their legal strategies. And more than anything, it's a story about law and ideology and the difficulty of deciding the former without the influence of the latter. Both groups have long courted the Supreme Court's intervention. Spearheaded by new leadership at the NRA in the late 1970s, gun rights activists engaged for decades in an effort to persuade the Supreme Court to recognize an individual's Second Amendment right to bear arms for self-defense at home. Well, yeah, really it's for defense everywhere, but I digress again. The court ultimately enshrined that right. No, it didn't. The court doesn't enshrine shit. The court ruled that right was already enshrined. 12 years ago, in D.C. versus Heller, displacing a long-standing consensus to the contrary. Well, you know what? There was a long-standing consensus that Africans weren't anywhere near as intelligent as Europeans and deserved to be held in bondage, but that doesn't mean that was right either. In the years after Heller, however, conservatives such as Justice Clarence Thomas frequently complained that the court had ignored this fledgling right. 1791, son. And before that, when this earth was created and when human beings came about on it, we automatically had the right to bear arms in our defense.
Well, maybe they're older than 1791. You don't know.
Maybe. Ignored his fledgling right by refusing to expand its reach beyond the facts of Heller itself, effectively resigning the right to second-class status. Second class no more. In New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus New York, a major case argued in December, the court appears poised to expand the Second Amendment to protect gun possession outside the home as well, just as it should be, because to bear arms. Just how far is an open question, though gun rights groups have focused for now on enshrining a right to transport guns to shooting ranges and second homes. For educational equity advocates, the court's involvement has not been as helpful. The court declared in 1973 that the Constitution guarantees no right to an education. Show me where it says that the right of the people to be educated shall not be infringed. You can't, because it doesn't exist. That ruling paved the way for today's radically unequal public school spending patterns that reinforce and exacerbate existing socioeconomic and racial inequalities. Like the gun activists, educational equality proponents have not given up their vision of a constitutional solution. Equity advocates' present litigation strategy is exemplified by a case known as Gary B. versus Whitmer, which is currently pending in the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. The complaint in the case is painful to read. Many classes in Detroit public schools are taught by unqualified substitutes, and many classrooms use textbooks that are decades old or lack them altogether. School buildings are in complete disrepair. The temperature had risen to 110 degrees in one building because of the lack of air conditioning, and students have to wear jackets and hats inside a number of schools during the winter months because of the lack of heat. Well, and here you go, folks. As Mark Walters says, if you show me an urban area in decay, I will show you one that has been ruled for decades by Democrats. And that's precisely the case in Detroit. So I have to wonder whether there is an equality problem or a policy problem. These schools, the plaintiffs argue, have deprived Detroit school children of their basic right to literacy in violation of the Equal Protection and Due Process Clauses of the 14th Amendment. A district judge rejected the plaintiff's theory in 2018, but a panel of judges on the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals seemed more receptive during oral arguments in October. And regardless of the outcome of the case in the Sixth Circuit, the Supreme Court will likely have the final say, perhaps as early as in 2021. At first glance, the gun rights movement and the pursuit of educational equity seem to have little in common. But they in fact share an approach. Both promote arguments that rely on what are called implied or unenumerated constitutional... What? How can you say that the gun rights advocacy relies on implied or unenumerated constitutional rights? It relies on the very specifically, very plainly spelled out enumerated constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Start with the gun activist position in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. One of their primary objectives is to vindicate... I'm glad I took my blood pressure medication today, just as a side note, because, man, if not, I would probably be gushing blood from my nose right now. What's that?
I question whether it's working or not.
Oh, no, trust me, it is, because otherwise I'd probably be gushing blood from my nose right now because my blood pressure's starting to climb from this garbage. Where was I? Start with the gun activist position in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association. One of their primary objectives is to vindicate a constitutional right to transport their firearms to any shooting range of their choosing. As a matter of fact, we have a constitutional right to transport our firearms any damn where we please. New York City forbade certain gun owners with premises licenses, which are unconstitutional infringements to begin with, from bringing their guns to shooting ranges outside city limits. At least, that is, before the city and state both amended the law to permit such travel. Yes, because they knew it was bullshit and it was a dodge to try to get around having the whole restrictions on transportation and carrying of firearms outside the home taken away, as I hope happens in this case. The gun-owning plaintiffs wanted to shoot at ranges in New Jersey. Well, I don't know that I would have wanted to do anything in New Jersey, but that's, hey, whatever you want to do. The argument for a constitutional right to train at any shooting range is far from obvious. What? See, this person doesn't understand a goddamn thing about freedom, about rights. This is an absolute statist who thinks that you don't have the right to defend yourself anywhere that you may be, who thinks that you don't have the right to protect yourself from the tyranny of government, which he would impose except on, what he wants. The Second Amendment speaks of a right to keep and bear arms, but says nothing about a right to train or practice. Well, for fuck's sake, how the hell are you going to keep and bear an arm without practicing with it, moron? And indeed, cities and states at the founding often restricted gun owners to practicing only at prescribed locations. So what do gun activists argue? It's worth reproducing this argument from their brief verbatim with emphasis added to a single word. The right to possess firearms for protection implies a corresponding right to acquire and maintain proficiency in their use. After all, the core right to keep and bear arms for self-defense wouldn't mean much without the training and practice that make it effective. The Second Amendment may say nothing about the right to practice at shooting range of one's choosing, in other words, but that right ought to be recognized implicitly because it is important for an express constitutional right to have full meaning. Now consider the argument advanced by advocates of a constitutional right to basic literacy. Like gun activists in their right to firearms training, educational equity advocates recognize that the Constitution says nothing explicit about education. But surely a guarantee of basic literacy skills must be implicit in the document in order for its express rights to have meaning. As the Gary B. complaint puts it, without access to basic literacy skills, citizens cannot engage in knowledgeable and informed voting, cannot exercise their right to engage in political speech under the First Amendment, and cannot enjoy their constitutionally protected access to the judicial system, including the retention of an attorney and the receipt of notice sufficient to satisfy due process. I would disagree. I would disagree completely because you can be informed about what's going on in politics and be an informed voter by having discussion with people, as you can do with verbal discussion to express your engage in your freedom of speech and engage in political speech, and to have access to the judicial system. Well, that's what attorneys are for. Which, if you are charged with a criminal offense, you automatically have the right to an attorney. Okay, where? The identical logical structure that underpins these otherwise distinctive arguments presents a puzzle for the Supreme Court. How can it, in good faith, accept a theory of implied constitutional rights for gun owners, only to reject the same argument for school children? Because the express right to keep and bear arms is specifically laid out in the Constitution. There is no right to be educated. How can it, in good faith, accept the theory, blah, blah, blah? Yet the consensus among close followers is that this is the most likely outcome. Gun rights activists believe the court is primed to deliver them a victory in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, while educational equity advocates recognize that the court's conservative majority is unlikely to rule in their favor. That's 'cause they're wrong. Should it come to pass, a pro-gun, anti-school children result would reveal some bleak lessons. Yes, because you got to be anti-children if you disagree with them. About the Supreme Court and the influence of political ideology on its justices. No, maybe about the influence of the actual letters in the Constitution, the actual words in the Constitution. Although, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, the writer here has a point. Because obviously, really, obviously he has a point. He may just have a point, because obviously one would need to be educated in basic reading comprehension to understand the Constitution, which apparently this jackass wasn't. You guys go turn loose on
That's
it.
one.
I got to take some deep breaths here.
That's one, and everyone are saying that you are out night striking Night Strike, and they're saying Night Strike Midnight is challenging your authority, and I'm like, nah, he's got a license, and Budget's also got a license to Night Strike. So there you go.
I'm out.
I gave it to him.
Strike. That's awesome.
Well, you know how I get heated up with rants and raves, and
yeah.
It's like Tonight is your night, my friend. Let's just put it that way.
I can't believe
I'm handing
the drivel in that.
I'm handing the torch to you.
I can't believe the drivel in that. Aaron Tang, you might not be in the running for Moron of the Week, but you are definitely stuck on stupid. That's a fact.
I have to ask, where is that article from again?
The Atlantic.
Okay, there's your first problem.
Well, yeah.
It's from the Atlantic, okay? They're left-leaning, and I think they're in New York, aren't they?
I'm sure of it.
I think they're New York. No, they're Massachusetts.
I put a link to that bit of tripe out there in the chat.
Okay. They're in Boston, Massachusetts, where in a state which the shot heard around the world happened, but they've got some of the most restrictive gun rights in the country right there, along with California and New York.
I'm surprised that entire state isn't filled with poltergeist activity, because their forefathers got to be rolling around in their frickin' graves, angry about what disgusting, vile degenerates their descendants turned into.
You know, I'm not surprised they're not rolling around enough in their graves to get back up and start going after people.
They should. Maybe that's how The Walking Dead
happened. But then we'd have whole other problems.
Maybe that's how the zombie plague started in The Walking Dead. Was the founding fathers rose up from the dead to come after and smite the evildoers.
Wow, that's pretty dark.
Well,
hey, that's one theory though. Oh no, Budget isn't Lewis Black level
The Walking Dead.
Well. Hey, it's been one of those weeks. We've had good, and then we've had, idiots posting drill like that.
A-Dub says the mass is the birthplace of freedom, no more. I agree. White Waves says, if I ever master necromancy, certain groups are funked. Yeah. No kidding. By the way, I have not seen your name out there. Welcome to the show, White Waves. Good to have you. Despite my profanity-laden rant, my profanity-laden rant, I generally try to keep things at PG-13 around here. I think I dropped an F-bomb or two in there, and I'm going to try to make that be it. But that guy, wow, Aaron Tang, what a moron. What a deliberately stupid, moronic buffoon.
There's a lot of those up north. North, there's
Midnight has a good point.
Yeah, I would gladly hand over one of my weapons to Zombie George Washington. I'd fight beside that rotten dude. That would be awesome. Yes, it would.
And White Waves is wrong. They wouldn't be funked. They would be defunct.
Yeah, no kidding. White Wave says, first time catching you live. Pleasures being here. Yeah, normally I'm 11:30 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, but last night I had to work, so I'm kind of making it up right now.
And whenever he has time off, he's on Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
Yep. And anyone else foolish enough to invite me.
Though he does comment on Rants and Raves.
Yes. I love that show. That show's awesome.
Where I usually get the wound out some guy of the week, but apparently you took that torch this week.
I bet I did. I will be the wound up sumbitch.
You got it.
That's okay. Yeah. Got to be wound up once in a while, otherwise you have absolutely no passion. All right.
Now,
go ahead.
I posted something in the side chat if you want to take a look at it later.
Oh, yeah. I saw something. It was ridiculous.
I saw something. It was ridiculous. 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 It was ridiculous.
I'll look at it later. I can't. If I pop it up now, it'll show everybody.
Right.
Welcome to Jersey.
Yep.
No kidding, right?
So, here we are. The last of our topics from the Washington Free Beacon. From, when is this? March 7th, 2020. Jersey cops arrest black gun owner over licensed gun, legal ammo. By Stephen Gutowski. A New Jersey gun owner is fighting charges for carrying a firearm for which he had a permit and ammunition state police have publicly said is legal. Roosevelt Twine, a 25-year-old African-American security guard, was arrested by Roselle Park police in February after a traffic stop stemming from tinted windows on his car. Evan Knappen, Twine's attorney, told the Washington Free Beacon that his client was then erroneously charged for illegally carrying a firearm and being in possession of so-called hollow point ammunition. He was arrested for the hollow point ammunition, Knappen told the Free Beacon. Then they claimed he was transporting his handgun illegally. He had a permit to carry the handgun. The law makes it clear that it's illegal to transport unless you are licensed pursuant to Chapter 58, and that is precisely what a handgun carry permit is. Knappen said the ammunition that led to Twine's arrest was the same ammunition issued by his employer. He also pointed to a New Jersey State Police website that says the polymer-tipped Hornady critical duty ammunition in question is not considered to be hollow point ammunition and not illegal to possess in the state. The website goes so far as to specifically name critical duty as an example of legal ammunition. It's lawful, Knappen told the Free Beacon. It's publicly announced as lawful because it is. It's not hollow. It's filled. Roselle Park Police Chief Daniel J. McCaffrey did not return a request for comment. The Union County Prosecutor's Office did not respond to questions about the charges against Twine, but did say his case will be heard next month in New Jersey Superior Court. The charges against Twine are representative of the difficulties of navigating New Jersey's gun laws, which are among the strictest in the nation. They may also reveal issues in the police's understanding of the state's voluminous, complex gun restrictions. The case also shows how disruptive gun-related charges can be, even when the accused has a clean record and is not alleged to have done anything violent. Twine said he has not been able to work in nearly a month, and his life has been turned upside down. Honestly, it's been traumatic and has impacted my life in a way that I've never experienced before, he told the Free Beacon in a statement. It's hard because now even looking for a part-time job or any job, it's made it so much harder for me. Not only has it tainted my name and reputation, which I have worked hard to attain, not just growing up in Elizabeth, but as a black man trying to make a difference. Knappen said the 3 police officers, who were white, did not make any racist remarks during the arrest, but said the issue of race is the elephant in the room. They didn't make racist comments, he said. They didn't say anything racist, but on its face, it's dubious. Let's just say it's dubious. Many of the earliest gun control measures instituted in the United States were directed at disarming African Americans and other minorities. Many black codes put into place throughout the South in the wake of the Civil War banned the ownership or carry of firearms by African Americans. Gun control provisions targeted at African Americans or in response to their activism continued through the Civil Rights era. Racial concerns over gun control laws and their enforcement remain today. In 2018, the Department of Justice reported African Americans are most likely to be convicted of federal gun crimes and most likely to face jail time over those crimes. The modern gun control movement has also faced criticism for racially tinged policies and statements. Michael Bloomberg, the former New York mayor and prominent funder of gun control groups nationwide who recently dropped out of the Democratic presidential primary, sorry about that. That just tickles me so much. Anyhow, recently dropped out of the Democratic presidential primary, ran a controversial stop and frisk program that he said tried to keep people from carrying guns. The policy remained in place until 2013 when the program was drastically curtailed by a federal judge's ruling which said it targeted blacks and Hispanics who would not have been stopped if they were white. Igor Volsky, executive director of gun control activist group Guns Down America, came under scrutiny for saying the gun industry's efforts to sell firearms to minorities and women were incredibly dangerous last month. Maz Toure, an African-American gun rights advocate, said the overt racism of gun control rears its ugly head again in response to Volsky's comments. Whether or not race was a factor in Twine's stop, Knappen said he should have been released without charges once police reviewed his gun carry permit. Once they got all of his licenses, he's a block away from home, and everything is clear now, he said. You arrest him and put these charges on him? I mean, who's this person we're dealing with now? This isn't some gangbanger that they've been trying to get forever and they finally can put something on him because he's such a danger to the public. This is a good guy. Licensed. He just showed you everything. He's not a danger to anybody. He's a good guy on our side, on the side of law and order. Why is he then subjected to the next phase with both the charges that are baseless? Knappen said Twine's ordeal reminded him of former client Shaneen Allen, an African-American mother of two who spent 2 days in a New Jersey jail on gun carry charges before being pardoned by then-Governor Chris Christie. In 2015, Allen, a Pennsylvania resident, was stopped by a New Jersey police officer for an illegal lane change while on her way to a birthday party for one of her sons. She was arrested and faced years of prison time for carrying a gun because New Jersey does not recognize her Pennsylvania gun carry permit, something she did not realize at the time. The difference with Shaneen is she made an honest mistake, Knappen said. Mr. Roosevelt didn't make any mistakes. Shaneen was an injustice without a doubt, but here, even completely obeying the law, you still become a victim of gun laws. It's ridiculous. A crowdfunding effort to pay for Twine's defense has raised nearly $5,500 from 189 donors as of Friday. Twine's case will be heard by Judge Robert Kirsch at 9 a.m. on April 2nd, according to the prosecutor's office.
Actually, I want to point out that link I sent you in the side. That's the same thing.
Same one.
That was the same thing, and they went into a little more detail that yours didn't. He was a security guard.
$30,220.
That's why
raised so far.
Yeah, they've gone up. But the thing is, he was a security guard. So that ammo was issued to him by his employer.
Yep.
Yeah, he said that at the very beginning.
And,
so if you want to donate to his defense fund, it's out there in the chat.
I would, because I don't see anything wrong with this case.
No.
But again,
he's not a bad guy.
It's not up to me. He didn't seem like a bad guy. It didn't seem like he did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Other than I guess living in the state of New Jersey.
Other than living in New Jersey. That was the only mistake he made in this. And it's unfortunate that engaging in a constitutionally protected activity can make you a felon in New Jersey. That is a damn shame. Let me go out to the chat. Let's see.
Well, and then if you actually want to run the stats correctly, that shows 93% of all black homicide victims are killed by other blacks. 84% of white homicides are killed by other whites. 7 out of 10 times the rate of 7 out of 10 times the rate the whites do. Blacks commit 52% of the homicides between 1980 and 2008. Despite only composing of just 13% of the population. That's one of the reasons why when Bloomberg, I'm not defending what Bloomberg did, but he had the right idea when he implemented the stop and frisk, because in those areas, because the complaints they were getting were from those areas. You're getting complaints from blacks. They're complaining about blacks. They even said that. What are you going to do? Go stop a Chinese guy? No. If it's a problem, that's what you got to do. But in Chicago, 78% of all juvenile arrests were black. So it's not a.
Where are we out there in the chat? Where was that? Green Badger Outdoors says some of the most strict gut laws in the country. That's why New Jersey is one of the safest states in. Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole premise of New Jersey's gun laws are just dumb as hell.
Hey, Midnight, go flip some more pancakes or something. Cook some bacon. Do something.
The whole premise of New Jersey's gun laws is just dumb as hell. But, well, speaking of dumb as hell.
And now prepare yourself for another tale of stupidity in this
Yes, conservative, you're correct.
Moron of the Week.
We have 2 contestants for Moron of the Week. For those of you who've never stuck around to the show for this long or never seen this segment, Moron of the Week is where I present 2 or more people who have done or said something incredibly stupid with regard to the Second Amendment. And you guys get to decide whether or not they are the big chief king of Turd Mountain for Moron of the Week. First up, we have this piece from the Gun Feed. Live streaming a negligent discharge. No, it's not obnoxious. Watch. Absolute moron forgets he loaded weapon and accidentally fires it in his house.
Hostile vehicle warship inbound.
Bitch, say I ain't got money. Say I ain't got money.
You ain't got brains.
You ain't got brains.
God damn. What the fuck?
Well, when you put your booger hook on the bang switch, that's what happens.
I swear to God, I just entered
By the way, he got booted from Twitch from that.
Oh, he got booted? Good. He should.
Yeah, they banned him.
He should. Because he's a frickin' idiot.
Yeah.
Absolutely no regard for the rules of gun safety. None.
No.
So, yeah, that is, that's contestant number 1. On to contestant number 2 in what is fast becoming his permanent spot. We got great old Shotgun Joe himself, Uncle Touchy Joe Biden. This is a piece from National Review. Biden, Beto, and gun control. They want to take your firearms away and make no bones about it. November 2020 will be known as the gun control election. Tuesday night, former Vice President Joe Biden announced that Beto O'Rourke will be the one who leads his gun control effort. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. O'Rourke, a former Texas congressman and Democratic presidential candidate himself, famously promised in a debate in September. They are weapons of war designed to kill people efficiently on a battlefield, he warned. O'Rourke vowed to buy back every single assault weapon, but said that he would use force if people didn't voluntarily agree to selling their guns. The former candidate also appears to support all the currently discussed gun control proposals. So, yes.
I'm pretty
it
sure
goes on
he
to
said
tell
he
more and
used
more
force.
about Beta. So we all know who Beta O'Cuck is.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got audio of this. Do we have audio of this?
Do we really want it?
Oh, I love to let them condemn themselves with their own words.
I want to make something clear. I'm going to guarantee you this is not the last you're seeing this guy. You're going to take care of the gun problem with me. You're going to be the one who leads this effort. I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you. We need you badly. The state needs you. The country needs you. You're the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There you have it. Out of Uncle Touchy's mouth himself, Beta O'Cuck to head his gun control efforts. So, who do we have as the moron of the week? Do we have Uncle Touchy or Stupid Streamer? Glimtech, your opinion on this?
Well, Uncle Touchy, that's a no-brainer. He gets that every day. The streamer got to be the winner.
Stupid Streamer, Night Strike.
Yeah, stupid streamer.
Stupid Streamer.
Yeah.
Out there in the chat? Is that what you said, Night Strike is streamer?
Yeah, because Joe Biden's an idiot every day. So that we're picking on the intellectually challenged at that point if we pick him today. So we have to go with the other guy.
All righty. So out there in the chat, this is where you have the chance to determine the fate of these two guys. Who is the moron of the week? Uncle Touchy Joe Biden or Stupid Streamer? Voting starts in 4, 3, 2, 1 now. We got 20 people out there watching. Let's have some votes, folks. I hate waiting.
And after the 5-minute delay.
DM Foss says Streamer. A-Dubs. Hellfire's 1 week, Robert the next. Biden for the win. One for Uncle Touchy. Poor Conservative says Streamer. Ozzy says Streamer. White Wave says, that's a way to stir up compassion. Intellectually challenged. I like that. Green Badger Outdoors says Streamer. Midnight says Biden. He also screwed up the Bill of Rights. White Wave says whatever makes you happy. Do you have a vote for which one of these is the most deserving of the title of moron of the week?
White Wave, it's all on you. It's all on you, buddy. Biden or Streamer?
Vote for whatever makes me happy. Oh, okay. Well, whatever would make me happy is for neither one of these guys to be doing anything like this. That would make me happy. But hey, if they're going to be out there doing and saying deliberately stupid things, I'm going to make fun of them for it. They will be exposed to ridicule. Biden.
He said Biden.
So we got 3 for Biden and 6 for Streamer. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? Surely, he says, I guess it's his norm. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I will go ahead and vote for Uncle Touchy, because you know what? This is his norm, and he should continue to be. He should win for this. That for Stupid Streamer, that might have been just a simple oversight on his part, an accident. Biden does this crap all the time and is really proving how stupid he is.
And should really know better.
He should know better. He's a longtime politician who should know better than to say the crap that he says, yet he keeps doing it all the time. So we are at 4 for Uncle Touchy and 6 for Streamer. Does anyone else want to weigh in? We got 16 out there.
Well, that's the definition of insanity, right?
Oh, yeah. Keep doing the same thing over
and
over and expect different results.
Again and expect a different result. Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Well, yeah, but the problem is when it's something that's not true and you're trying to make everyone else convinced of it, then it becomes propaganda.
Well, yeah, that's what they're doing, and really, then the moron of the week becomes the people that vote for them over and over and over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call this one for Stupid Streamer. So, Stupid Streamer, you're the moron of the week.
And there we had another tale of stupidity in this week's episode of Moron of the Week.
All right, which brings us to the last segment of the show. What is Roll Call 219's favorite segment, Self-Defense Shoutouts. For those of you who are new to the show or who have never seen the end of it, self-defense shoutouts are not where I'm reveling in the proposition that the bad guy has won the room temperature challenge by taking a dirt nap. It is where I am, in fact, reveling in the proposition that the good guy had the means, method, and opportunity to prevent the bad guy from making them take the room temperature challenge. So, first up.
This happens to be one of my favorite sections, too.
Oh, why, thank you. This is from Patch.com in Alpharetta, Milton, Georgia, by Kathleen Sturgeon from March 3rd, 2020. Homeowner shoots, kills intruder. Milton police said they are investigating a fatal shooting Saturday where a homeowner shot and killed a home intruder on New Providence Road. At 8:40 p.m. on Saturday, Milton police received a 911 call regarding burglary at a home in the 12,000 block of New Providence Road. Prior to police arrival, the suspect reportedly forcibly broke into the home through a locked front door and confronted the homeowner. The homeowner shot the intruder with a handgun, striking him multiple times in the torso. The suspect was treated at the scene by Milton Fire Rescue personnel for gunshot wounds and transported to Wellstar North Fulton Hospital. The suspect was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The deceased suspect was identified as Corey Patton II, 23, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Milton police said they do not believe there are any other suspects in the case. As this is an ongoing and active investigation, Milton police said they cannot release additional details at this time. As per protocol, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office has been notified about the incident. Well, it says that from what I can see here, it seems like it'll be a good shoot, and I hope that the good guy does not get prosecuted. And last but certainly not least, from WKO, Sheriff identifies alleged Juneau County intruder shot by homeowner. From March 5th, 2020, by J.T. Seskowski. Mauston. A man who allegedly tried to break into a town of Kingston home Wednesday before being shot by the owner has been identified by authorities. Todd Parker, 21, Wisconsin Rapids, was shot several times with a handgun, according to the Juneau County Sheriff's Office. Responders airlifted Parker to the hospital. Parker allegedly tried to break into a business in the unincorporated community of Mather before 4 a.m. Wednesday morning. When he couldn't get inside the building, Parker allegedly went inside a home in the community. The owner confronted the intruder. Parker left the residence, according to the sheriff's office, but soon returned. He tried to force his way inside while the owner was on the phone with authorities. The owner had locked the door, and Parker allegedly broke the window on the door after yelling obscenities. The owner fired a handgun several times. The sheriff's office said it expects Parker to be cleared from the hospital soon. From there, he will be taken to the Juneau County Jail. So there you have it, folks. Despite what the anti-gun, anti-freedom, anti-responsibility crowd would have you believe, the good guy with the gun does indeed stop the bad guy with a gun on a regular basis. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and start to roll up the sidewalks and fold up the awnings. I'm going to go ahead and let my panelists have a chance to give any plugs that they wish to give and give any final thoughts they have on the topics we've discussed tonight. So, Glimtech, is there anything you would like to add to the discussion as a parting shot?
No, as a matter of fact, other than everybody have a good night, be safe, go on home, drive safe, don't drink and drive. Thank you for the invite, and
no problem.
Have a good evening.
Anytime. Night Strike. Where can people find Night Strike? Tell the people out there who may not know about GunTube, and give us your final thoughts on this.
Okay, well, you can find me on YouTube at the Night Strike 1 channel, so check that out. Check us out every Tuesday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Hit or miss, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock. And, check out guntube.org.
And I am Mike from Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, obviously. Thanks for sticking around and watching The Right of the People. Remember, go on over to budgetgunsandgear.com and check out the NRAM sticker sales / giveaway contest and get involved in that. We got, last I checked, 34 stickers left. We may have a few less than that now that I think some folks have gotten a couple here during the broadcast, which is awesome. Thank you very much for going over there and being part of that. And I have to leave you guys with the same thing I leave you with every week. In these dark and dangerous times, make sure that your Congress critters and elected representatives know what you think about the issues at hand. Let them know that you will not stand for them trying to infringe upon your freedoms, not one bit more. Send them snail mail, email, telephone, telegraph, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, bicycle messengers, TomTom, semaphore, anything you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up the fight. We'll see you guys on the next one.